Good afternoon. My name is Joseph Lloyd and welcome to No Budget Reviews, the series where we go around the country finding cars that you can buy in good condition with an MOT for under £1,000 and filming them with absolutely no money at all. So we have to use my phone, no microphones, no fancy DSLRs, nothing like that. Just good honest cars that you can buy for very little money and you can enjoy driving. Well viewers, here we are, we're back at Broadmarsh Coastal Park near Havant in Hampshire, where the infamous City Rover review was filmed, as well as the MG ZT 160. And I've got something a bit different today for No Budget Reviews, still well within the parameters of what we always do. This is a 2003 Toyota Yaris 1.5 T-Sport 3-door. And it's in what I can only describe as one of the most wonderful period shades I've ever seen. I had a Rover 25 that was similar to this colour as well. The Toyota Yaris, which replaced the Starlet in Britain and a lot of other places too, was launched in 1999, and it was a very different prospect from the Yaris, from the Starlet. It was built in France, and it was based on a big global platform. There were lots of different names for the platform that this car was actually put upon. The cars were sold as the Platz and the Echo and the Vitz and all kinds of things. If we have a look in the boot, I do apologise about the wind today. I am right by the sea, so that's probably why it's so bad. I'm trying to deal with it as best as I can. As you can see, the boot looks really small actually, but that's because, as we'll have a look at in a second, the lever down there is for moving the seat back and forth. And there's all kinds of things here which talk about the way in which you have to be very careful when you're moving it. It does fold 60/40. It looks tiny like this, but it is a bit bigger than you'd imagine. This car costs less than £500, so it's got a few little scars in it. These wheels are pretty nice though. These are the standard wheels for a T-Sport, and I do like them. If we get inside and get out of this really bad wind, the driving position in this car, and I'll refer to this a bit later on, we go for a drive as well, I don't like it very much. I'm too far away from the pedals and I can't reach the steering wheel very well, and also I'm sitting up of the car, which isn't very good for something that's supposed to be a bit sporty. On the inside we have the T-Sport dials. If I just actually turn the car on, you'll see the full set of instruments that we have. I'll close the door as well for better sound. That's better. You can see the car's done 117,000 miles, which is pretty impressive. When you're driving along though, and this is something that I'll be able to demonstrate later on, is you're like this and you just see here, but you expect the instruments to be about there, but they're not. They're there, and also the dials are a lot further away. On a standard Yaris, and this is true of the Mark II models as well, they are actually all digital instruments, and the readouts are sort of further away than that, but in this kind of, it looks like a sort of space tunnel or something, and you get used to it. But looking down to the left and kind of expecting the instrument to feel as if it's there, where actually it looks like it's further away, it's really disconcerting when you're not used to it. Here we have the split radio. Got some bits up there and some bits down here. I think someone has fitted an aftermarket stereo to this car at some stage as well, judging by the effort they've taken to try to take it out. I must say though, the interior of this car, considering this is 17 years old and it's done almost 120,000 miles, is actually very good. It's worn very well. The steering wheel's a little bit worn, but it's really not that bad. Conventional stalks really, Wipers are on the right, and the indicators on the left. Lights on here as well, and all the fog lights and things. The seat's quite comfortable, actually. Although I do feel like I'm in a Honda Jazz or something. There is a manual sunroof in this car, which is utterly bizarre. I thought this would have had an electric sunroof, and for some reason, despite this being the T Sport, we've got blanking plates in various places, like here and then there. I imagine that would be for an electric sunroof if you specified one. Got the famous Yaris twin glove box. There we go. That's a very clever feature, actually, and with a standard passenger airbag, I think these also have side airbags, all of them, which is nice and safe. I mean, we haven't got soft touch plastic or anything in here. No, and of course you don't get soft touch plastic in this car. You don't expect that from a little Super Mini from the early 2000s. Very spindly gear lever, quite tall. I mean, you need it to be quite long because you're sitting so high up. Nice conventional handbrake, a little storage bit there, 2 cup holders, and bizarre little cubby holes either side of the centre console, which are quite useful. Then there's another compartment down there that Hugh, who owns this car, has got a mount on. And then we've got little silver finishes because, of course, we're in the T Sport, so we need them. Nice cloth trim here. And a door pocket for my secret mission documents. Of course, electric mirrors in this car as well. Simple central controls. Air conditioning, which I'm told actually does work in this car. Yeah, it's pretty idiot-proof, really. It's just quite a strange colour somehow. I don't really know how to describe it. Right, let's see if I can get into the back. Okay, so that slides nice and easily. Just got to be careful of this door because it's just me here, and it is very windy. Oh, it's like a limbo dance. Okay, stay there a second. It's gonna be okay. Right, so if you want to put this seat back when you're on your own, it's not too bad. It's just like that. But if I wanted to actually adjust that for someone else, it'd be a bit difficult. So the door will just close on its own because it's windy and I'm inside. That's no problem. If I adjust the seat to go forward, there's a little handle under here. I can move like that or like this. I think I'll have it like this because it shows me that I've got an enormous amount of leg room, but that's because the seat back is really upright and I can't pull it back. I can't reach the lever. So if I wanted to make that nice for a front seat passenger, then I could not do that. You can see in here that actually the visibility is quite good, although that rear window is tiny. Got some interesting sort of things in the side of here. This 3-door model. There actually are some cup holders in here too. So with the driver's seat set for me, I think I'd be able to fit in there pretty well, actually. Right, let me free myself from my prison. Right, viewers, I apologise for the wind once again. These are some of the engine specifications for the Yaris. I don't know which one of those actually this is. I've conveniently forgotten what the 1.5 litre 106 horsepower is, but all engines that are petrol have Toyota's VVTi system with variable valve timing. It doesn't actually look too bad here in terms of working on it and things. Chain cam engine, I believe all of them are. Certainly the 1 litre 1.3 are chain cam, so not much to worry about. I believe this is too. But yes, it doesn't look too bad actually. I can't see any leaks or anything in here. Not bad for less than £500, is it? Let's go for a drive. Well, viewers, here we are in the Yaris T Sport. Fortunately, some of the roads I'm driving on today are full of parked cars, and so I have to wait for other people to go past. Steering is very light. Gearbox is a typical kind of Japanese model of precision, although the throw is surprisingly long and the gear stick is a bit spindly looking. It doesn't feel as fast as you'd imagine it, actually. This 1.5 engine has 106 horsepower, but it doesn't feel anywhere like that really. Don't know why that would be. These instruments as well, yes, they take a bit of getting used to. The ones on the standard Yarises, or I don't know what Imperialist Yaris says, I don't know. Ones on the standard ones are even worse than this. Suspension's a little bit firmer than usual. The other engines available in first generation Yaris were a 1 litre that was the launch engine, I think, actually, that had 67 horsepower, which was a lot for a 1 litre engine at the time. Then there was 1.3 that had 88 horsepower, again quite a lot for a 1.3 at the time. That was later changed to a different unit with 86 horsepower. I have no idea why they changed the unit, possibly to do with Euro 3 regulations. Then this T-Sport, 106 horsepower. And there was actually a turbocharged version of this engine as well, which had about 150 horsepower, the T-Sport Turbo. Now I'm not that familiar with that particular engine, so I don't know even whether they sold it over here, but certainly that would have been nice. It just doesn't feel as fast as I thought it would. It's not a very heavy or large car, and yet it's got over 100 horsepower. It's supposed to do 0 to 60 in about 9 seconds, I've read somewhere, but it doesn't feel like that. It's surprising. It certainly isn't a hot hatch. I think also I'm distracted by the fact that I keep having to look at down here, whereas I think the instruments are going to be in front of me, they're over there. I suppose you get used to it, and there are a number of other cars which are like this, but yeah, it's not my favourite really. Anyway, let's pull over and switch the camera around, and we'll continue our discussion about these cars.
1 heure plus tard.
Of course, one of the things we don't talk about on this channel is diesels, and with the Yaris is no exception. There was a 1.4 diesel, we also wanted a mini one, but that's as much as I'm going to tell you. The trim levels available in the Yaris for the pre-facelift, and this is a pre-facelift car, were S, GS, GLS, SR and CDX. Obviously there was the T-Sport, and in some territories the T-Sport Turbo. After the facelift that occurred in 2003, obviously after this car was made, the trim levels were changed to T2, T3 and T-Spirit. There were also a couple of special editions, such as the, I think, a blue edition it was called, and also the colour collection. Driving this car at kind of modest speeds feels quite good. I don't like this driving position particularly. I feel like I'm far too high up, but you know, there's not an awful lot we can do about that. It's just the way that it goes. can go this way of this roundabout, and the car is actually quite easy to handle. It's not too difficult. It's really fun actually, huh? It's still though just not as fast as I thought it might be. It really isn't. It's kind of disappointing in that way. I don't really know how else to describe it. It's just not quite how I imagined this car to be. It's just a little bit on the slow side, a little bit too noisy. Don't know how else to sort of put it really. Ride's actually pretty good. It's not too bad considering this is the sport version, but because of this really awkward driving position, I'm just not that close to the wheel as I really should be. Body lean is quite well controlled. It's not as nice as in something like a Fiesta. That is definitely better to drive than one of these, no doubt about it. But it's okay. It has a sort of raspy little character to it. I hope we'll switch the camera before this road gets really bumpy though, because it's known for its undulations. Just like this one. Oh, turn that off. So, viewers, should you buy an XP10 Yaris, which is the Mark 1, made until 2005? Well, they're known as very reliable cars. I mean, rust is something you've got to sort of watch for, and the interior may sort of have some bits fall off it. It's not the highest quality interior I've ever encountered, but in comparison with things like a City Rover or a I don't know, Proton Savvy or all sorts of things you could buy for this kind of money, it's pretty good. Chain cam engines mean that you don't have to worry about cam belt changes. This car does not drive as nicely as either the Ford Fiesta that I drove or the Honda Jazz that I drove. It just doesn't. The driving position is really the worst thing about it. It's far too high up. The engine, for some reason, despite having a power output of 106, it doesn't really seem to do much. I've heard 0 to 60 in about 9 seconds and 40 miles per gallon, but I don't know how you test those. Yes, it depends what you want really. If you want something that's going to be endlessly reliable and not have to worry about maintenance so much, then this might be a good option. The sliding rear seat is probably pretty useful, and they do seem to stand the test of time pretty well. Anyway, thank you ever so much indeed for watching this episode of No Budget Reviews. If you wished for me to feature your car on the channel, then if you just go back to the title card, which will be about a 30-second mark of this video, you'll see my email address, japl745@hotmail.com. And I've got a Facebook page as well, facebook.com/Lloyd Vehicle Consulting, and Instagram as well, instagram.com/Lloyd_vehicle_consulting. Thank you.